Goddess of Science Biology, and this is part 7 of the Cellular Energy series. Today we're going to talk about cellular respiration, introduce that a little bit, and talk about the first part, and there are 4, of cellular respiration. That first part is called glycolysis. Okay, so section 8.3 in your book is rather long and rather involved. But we're going to just kind of give you the Reader's Digest shortened condensed version of that. So the main idea of section 8.3 is living organisms get energy by breaking down organic molecules during cellular respiration. All organisms have to do this. Even though plants capture the sun's energy and convert it into a carbohydrate that they can break down, they still need this process of cellular respiration to be able to break down that molecule. So all organisms do this, even bacteria. Even though bacteria don't have mitochondria, they actually do it a little bit differently. But all organisms have to be able to do cellular respiration, or else they wouldn't have any energy source for them. So the overall equation is C6H12O6, which should be familiar to you. That's the glucose molecule, plus 6 oxygens gives you 6 CO2 and 6 water and some energy. Now that's the overall equation. We couldn't take a glucose molecule and pretty much burn it and take the energy that it got from there and have it be usable by the cell, because it would be like a nuclear bomb going off inside that cell. So we have to break this glucose molecule apart piece by piece. Each time we break a bond, it's going to liberate a little energy, and we can make some ATP using that energy. So there are 4 stages. The first stage is called glycolysis, and this is, strangely enough, an anaerobic process, which means it needs no oxygen to occur. So organisms that are anaerobic organisms, some bacteria, other organisms, they, mostly bacteria, they actually will die in the presence of oxygen. So they can't have any oxygen around. Oxygen is for anaerobic organisms, oxygen is a poison to them. But glycolysis can occur in those organisms, which is the first part, liberates a little bit of energy. It's the first part of cellular respiration, because glycolysis, you don't need any oxygen at all. So this occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. Another reason why bacteria can do it, because they have cytoplasm. They don't have mitochondria, but they do have cytoplasm. So there's just a few alphabet compounds this time around. We have NADH, which is an energy storing molecule made when an electron is added to another compound called NAD+. We're not going to get into the details. Just realize that NADH is kind of an electron carrier that carries the electron down a little path until it's ready to be used. And we also have something else, which is another electron energy storing molecule called FADH2. Those are the 2 biggies that we're going to talk about and you're going to hear again. Okay, so here's the overview of cellular respiration. So glycolysis occurs out here, outside of the mitochondria. You have some ADP gets converted to ATP, and you get some electrons that end up over here in part 4. We have something in here after glycolysis. This is what we're going to talk about today. The next part is the transition reaction. Some people call it the link reaction. That's what I call it, the link reaction, because it links glycolysis to the next part, which is the Krebs cycle. So we have glycolysis, the link reaction or transition reaction. We have the Krebs cycle, and we have electron transport chain. The most energy comes from the electron transport. The most ATP comes from the electron transport chain, but a little bit comes here and there, mostly because each of these first 3 parts of the reaction produce these energy carriers that feed into electron transport, and then you can think of electron transport as a machine that these are the raw materials that go in, and ATP is what comes out. Okay, so even though glycolysis, and we're back to glycolysis again, even though glycolysis is anaerobic, we still need some raw materials to put in. And just like an engine that hasn't been run in a while, you need to kind of prime the pump. Um, and we do that by putting in 2 ATP molecules with the initial glucose. That kind of gets the engine going. Um, each reaction, each time glycolysis occurs, you end up with 4 ATP, which is okay, but it's nothing compared to what comes out the other end of cellular respiration. So the net products are 2 ATP. Even though the reaction itself produces 4, we kind of have to pay back the initial 2 that we started with to prime the pump. So it produces 4, but really the net products, or after we get our debts paid, is only 2 ATP. You get some electrons from glucose that hang on to the NADH, the electron carriers. Those go away further down the chain. They go to stage 4, the electron transport chain, otherwise called etc., ETC. And you get a couple of three carbon molecules called pyruvate. You get 2 of those. So so far we've got a tiny little bit of ATP. We got some electron storage energy in the bank, which is we're going to take out of the bank a little bit later, and we got these 2 pyruvate molecules. So not a whole lot of ATP produced here, but we've produced a little. What this introductory thing is we're kind of setting the stage to get like a crap ton out the other end, a crap ton in cellular terms. So these 2 pyruvate go into the next stage, which is pyruvate oxidation, otherwise known as the link reaction. So we're modifying these pyruvates to continue on to the next step. Okay, well, that's it for this time. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day.